Hello, I'm John Hass, Bear and Elk Program Coordinator with Kentucky Fish and Wildlife, and I'm here today to talk about our elk population model, our SPR model for elk here in Kentucky. This will be preliminary results, but we are getting very close to having a final model for you. I've got all confidence in this model. We've got just a couple loose ends to tie up, but I'll happily take these numbers to the bank with what we've got right now. So I first want to run through available data. So we've essentially had the same elk hunting regs from 2019 through 2022. So we've got a 4-year set of data. SPR models include 3 main kind of foundational parts. So first part of that, survival and cause-specific mortality. So we had 354 radio collared elk. So that's GPS collars around an elk's neck. Of those 354, we had 107 mortalities. 60 of those mortalities were harvest, 47 were non-harvest. 62 elk were censored from this study. So that's important from a survival standpoint. So these are animals where their collar fell off, the collar failed, the battery ran out of juice. This happens in every survival analysis you can do anywhere. And so you just simply take the animal out of the study when it's no longer marked. So it contributes the time when it was marked and then is removed from the study without actually being a mortality. So just wanted to put that number in there. Kind of the second tenet to an SPR model, harvest data. So we had 986 elk harvested. So 623 males, 363 females. So those were hunter harvests. 341 of that 986 were aged by tooth analysis. So we've got an exact age on 341. And then for 2022, kind of how we got a 22 model without waiting until our teeth came back in July is myself, my biologists, my technicians, we called every hunter and talked them through field aging, specifically cows, talked them through field aging their elk and are using that as a proxy for the tooth analysis. And then third, kind of the third foundation of SPR is hunter effort data. So this is derived from the postseason hunter survey that's issued annually. That's a mandatory survey everybody with an elk tag has to take. Our researchers, Dr. Murphy, that did this analysis, created an index from hunter-reported number of days spent scouting and hunting. And that's important. I've got that highlighted on here. So when we look at the hunter effort data, it's essentially number of days in the field, hunting plus scouting time. So we'll bump forward here. Want a brief slide about why preliminary and not final results at this point. So of course, we're still waiting, like I talked to, on the elk ages from the 2022 season. We talked to those hunters. I'm fairly confident about what we've got in terms of the age of the cow that they took, but they're not tooth-derived ages. We should have those back mid-summer. 2022-23 survival estimates from the calf project that we've heard a lot here. Kate, the student at UK, spoke back at the December meeting. So essentially, for us to get the 2022-23 survival data, the calf actually has to make it through till its birthday. And so here we are in March. We've got a couple more months before we'll have a full 1-year survival estimate for last year's cohort of calves. So we'll have that again at some point in June. Post-hunt survey data for the 2022 season is not yet available. I will say that this is actually being crunched right now. So that survey window closes February 28th. I give people a little extra opportunity to jump in there and get that survey done because we want their data. And then we are in the process of getting it cleaned and analyzed as we speak. But it's a lot to add in given the timeline between the closing of that survey window and our presentation here at the meeting. So just a couple of reasons why we're still not calling this the final model, but it's very close. A couple of graphs to look at. So I've got the graph on the right, notes on the left. So this is collared elk survival probabilities. We've got female on the left, male on the right, and you can see that those survival probabilities differ drastically. So our female, they've got right about a 75% chance of making it through a year. Whereas when you look at the male elk, you're down there, at least in 2021, hovering around 50%. So we did see a drop in adult bull survival in 2022 and 21. That seems to be on the rebound for 2022, but a lot of that will influence the model. And again, when we're looking at the yellow lines on this graph, we don't have calf survival for 2022 yet because technically that year's not over yet. So we're kind of taking the inverse of survival and looking at mortality. So this is just for our male collared elk. We've got harvest mortalities on the left. We've got non-harvest on the right. So a couple notes on that. Bull elk harvest mortality, increased above 50% in 2020 and 2021. So that is the odds. It's very much a probability game. That's the odds of a bull elk being harvested. It's a coin flip. It's 50%, which is fairly high, and it kind of went up there and stayed for 2022 and 2021, and that's reflected in the estimate without a doubt. Bull calf harvest is negligible. We know that. That's that orange bar down there at the bottom. And honestly, non-harvest probability remains low for adult and yearling bulls, which is good. We don't have a lot of random stochastic mortality sources out there on the landscape. Bumping forward to hunter effort data. So down at the bottom, and these are violin plots that we use to kind of show the range and the average in a graphical format here. And so we've got 2019, 2020, 21. So that adjacent plot, so it's illustrating hunter effort data. That's from that postseason survey. And again, it's number of scouting days plus hunting days. So the mean hunter effort for a cow and a bull gun hunter during those rifle seasons is approximately 5 days. So you might ask, that's a 5-day season, and it is, but this is days scouting and hunting. So you're 5 days total, regardless of whether you didn't scout and hunted 5 days or scouted 3 and hunted 2. So it's one of those things that's fairly low. I think as Kentucky elk have gotten wiser and gotten more difficult to pursue, that maybe we haven't caught up with the amount of effort that needs to be put into that hunt. And you can see when you look at either sex archery hunters in green and our youth landowner commission tags, we group them together in the purple, that the average is up there around 10. And it's strung out a little bit longer. So, and of course, those people have a longer time to hunt, but at the same time, these are scouting and hunting days. So, bumping forward. So this is the chart everybody wants to see. So just some notes on elk abundance. So when we look at this graph, top left is female elk abundance, top right, male elk abundance, and down at the bottom in the middle is total elk abundance. So what we did, and what we were able to use the pilot study that we did with the University of Montana, we were able to add that in as auxiliary data to this and provide us not so much a starting point, but a good comparison. And so the coefficient of variability of just overall on this model, and that really tells us if we're in the right ballpark, is what that metric does. So we've actually got a 33% improvement over the precision of the abundance estimate from the pilot project. And that makes perfect sense because that pilot project was there to tell us how to make it better. That was its sole purpose in life. Sometimes you have to do science to figure out where the holes are in the science. So we did that back in 2016 to 18, we found out where those holes are. We plugged the holes, and we've got a much, much better model. So talking about cow abundance is strong. The estimate for 2022, around 8,900 elk. So 8,900 cow elk. we do see, moving over to the top right graph, we do see a decline in bull abundance. A lot of that stems back from the increased mortality probability in 2020 and 2021. So what we don't know right now is, has this leveled off? Is it going to continue to go down? But either way, the 2022 estimate for bull elk, right around 4,000 bull elk. So overall, adding those two numbers together, 13,007 elk is the official number. We'll call it 13,000. What I would like to point out is back to 2015, the start of this graph, our overall elk abundance represents about a 6,000 elk increase from 2015 to 2022. So we have been growing this population during that time. And really, we've been growing this population since elk stepped foot in Kentucky in '97. So we'll bounce forward here. Preliminary conclusions. So male abundance declined 23% per year since 2020. That is all related to low survival and high mortality probabilities. So we had very high bull and yearly mortality rates during 2020 and 2021, as I spoke about. Additionally, male recruitment has been low for 4 straight years, and we gleaned that from our calf project with the University of Kentucky. Kind of on the flip side of that, female abundance has increased 27% per year since 2018. So we're seeing reduced harvest. I think our cows are getting more difficult to kill, not because there's less of them, but because they're smart. We've got moderate to high survival rates for all age classes and very high female recruitment. So those female calves are being recruited into the population. But overall, looking at this model, what I'm most proud of, what my crew's done to improve this, is we have better and more abundant auxiliary data. So that's more radio collared elk at its simplest form. We've got excellent hunter survey data, and we've had minimal, almost zero harvest changes the last 4 years. That contributed to a substantial improvement in the precision of this abundance estimate, without a doubt. So we've got more data. We've got the data we need. We've filled those holes that were identified in the pilot project, and the numbers, the metrics that you judge a model with are 33% better, which is a lot better. So moving forward with this, as I've said, I've sat here at this table. It seems like every time I'm here, I'm asking for an additional year of data. This is an incredibly complex thing that we're studying. It's an incredibly complex model. And in almost every corner of science, more data is better. That's the, you can gain a lot of confidence with getting another year of data, or having another 100 people in a study, or having another 100 elk in a study. So I would like an additional year of data. Where we sit right now, going into 23, most things are as they were back to 2019. I'd like to keep it that way. So this is a retrospective model in that if we got improved data for 2023 or more data, it can also improve the estimate for 2022. It's retrospective. It's looking back. It makes from the current year's data, it can go back and adjust past data. So we may see that the bull decline was just a product of 2020 and 2021, and we're back where we need to be, or we're trending upwards. We need that next year data. So we are working hard to continue to collect auxiliary data. So we've got 124 elk currently wearing GPS collars out in what I'm gonna call the kind of the eastern part of the elk zone, and another 22 in McCreary County. We've got 27 adult bulls. These are adult bulls, big guys wearing GPS collars. That will help improve our estimates for 2023. We have kept right about 100 collars on the air. We're up to 124 plus those in McCreary County. We're tightening up survival estimates. That will help us tighten up survival estimates for adult bulls. And then we'll have the calf data. Once they get to their first birthday, we'll be able to crunch that and add the calf data to it. So with that, again, I know this is a topic that the commission and the public and our elk hunters have been very interested in. I'm very confident with what we've laid out. Any questions about this? I've got Dr. Sean Murphy on speed dial basically with this, so let me know questions that you've got. If I can't answer them, we'll take it right to the source and get an answer from Dr. Murphy. Again, I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. I'm excited about what we've got here. And as we move forward, I think we're in good shape with the elk herd here in Kentucky. Thank you.